So it's the week of the ARC protest. Technically, it's next week since it's Sunday, but yeah, it's ARC protest week. So I've got a lot of stuff to finalize, plan, pack for, and prep for the mini vacation going on. I thought I'd get a few videos out though before we, are off at the ARC protest doing our thing. And by we, I mean me and Ambushed Apostate, because we're tag teaming that. I thought I'd go on and hit up the usual requisite videos. In this case, going on and looking at yet another Matt Powell video. Let me get this shared and ready, so I don't have much preamble for this. The rock to life theory, atheism's weirdest belief. Now, Ken Hovind apparently watched a bit of this video in one of his streams recently. Forget the exact details. He had played it for whatever reason, and yeah, I don't know. I don't care. We're gonna watch it. It's Matt Powell. I'm not gonna come out the other side of this feeling any better than I already do, because he's just an outright irritating piece of crap. But whatever. Let's see what garbage he has to say this time. Recycling the same, decade-old website pop science links and the same video clips and stuff that he always does, saying the same shit he always does. Ready? Let's do it.
Despite everybody correcting him, he still says that, well, you believe, evolutionists believe we came from a rock. Except that no evolutionists ever believed that. Nobody, not one, not ever.
This scientific paper says here that you can see, says life and rocks may have co-evolved on Earth.
That's not a scientific paper. That's a blog post. That's it. That's an opinion piece, an article in some random website. That is not a scientific paper. Last I checked, actual scientific papers don't have fucking links to Facebook, Twitter, and fucking Pinterest and LinkedIn and shit in there.
And it goes on to say,
scientific papers don't have fucking ads in the middle.
Say that rocks beget life. Right there.
And once again,
and ignoring all the other. If it uses that verbiage, you might want to read into what is actually meant by that. That it would not be what you claim. That's the funny thing about you and Hovind's obsessive rocks, or we came from a rock thing, is that even the stuff you cite, as poorly worded as it is, as non-scientific as it is, how it's just written pieces, opinion pieces in a sense, pop sci, a way of conveying complex thoughts in simplified forms, does not actually say what you constantly make it out to say. But the simple-minded fuckwits following y'all think that's what you say. Because, of course, y'all never lie. Everyone else sure as fuck does, though. It's funny how that works. It's okay to lie when, you're lying for Jesus, I guess.
again, see right there, evolution does not say that we came from a rock. Why do
Evolution has nothing to do with the origins of life anyway, even though creationists constantly want to act like it does, which is one of the most irritating things, in that when science is compartmentalized, they want to break it apart, all the compartmentalizations apart, and just fuse it all into one lump thing. Yet simultaneously, if one tries to do that with their view, which is monolithic in that nature, they suddenly want to compartmentalize it. It's always a double standard and always a reversal with these idiots.
you keep saying evolution is, we claim that we came from a rock? It's not what people that believe in evolution, it's not what they believe at all. It's not what they say.
Here's from scientific.
Dead serious, and Kent and Matt Powell would go, but see all these
Paper that was published.
Sorry, see all these papers, see all these, reports, see all these websites and stuff. And it's like, I've never once ever heard anyone say explicitly in any way, shape, or form, life directly has come from a rock. And it gets so tiring hearing these idiots say this when they're corrected on it ad nauseum. When everyone constantly tells them, no, this is a strict misrepresentation, an intentional one, and you just keep going with it. But, every time you do these videos, Matt, because you're fucking obsessed with this subject for some reason, I'll be there to keep on calling you out on it and keep on saying you're a lying piece of shit.
Recently, it says rocks and minerals must have played key roles in virtually every phase of life's emergence.
Yes, playing key roles. In the same way your car plays a key role in you getting to work. That doesn't mean you use your car for work, unless you happen to. See, they can be abstracted. It's not hard. It's a very basic element of language and thought concepts. I mean, I guess object permanence is a bit much of a concept for these people, so I wouldn't expect them to understand the complex relations on how things can be involved in something but not intrinsically part of that resulting something. But again, that's giving them credit to act like they're actually intentionally this stupid rather than knowing it's just pure deceptiveness.
And they may have even acted as life's first genetic system. There's Grandma and Grandpa, folks. Rock.
Well, Hovind grade stuff. It's what is this thing too with preachers and outright ridicule of stuff? I mean, you know, the ideas you have are truly ridiculous, but they probably wouldn't be mocked nearly as much as they are if it wasn't for the fact that you guys do these just absurd caricatures of the outright lie that you propagate. So it's layers upon layers of ridicule and just outright, deceptiveness to a point where what else can one do but mock Magic Sky Daddy, Dirt Man, and Rib Woman? Because once again, it needs to be brought up that creationists like Matt Powell literally believe that the progenitor of all humanity, Adam, was made from dust. But it's okay when your Magic Sky Daddy does it, yet you want to ridicule it when it's what you think the science says, even though it's not at all what the science actually says. And I mean that tangentially, rocks, dust, tomato, tomato kind of thing in this case. I don't know how else to explain it, but, maybe the occasional moron who follows this clown will watch this video and actually understand, oh, hey, maybe this Caruso tomato guy knows what the hell he's talking about.
The Bible says, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools.
Well, Magic Book says people who don't believe Magic Book are dumb. How convenient.
And again, they'll say, no.
And I forget there's exact nuance on how else to respond to that line. If there's a follow-up passage or if there's otherwise a witty retort that I know exists, but I forget it. So just know that I am aware of there being better responses to that line.
Nobody thinks we came from a rock. This is a straw man. No, you can type in on Google. Just do it right now if you want to. I won't judge you. You owe your life to a rock. Type it in.
Yes, and you'll get that exact article from fucking 2012 because that's what you searched for. That's how search engines work. If you put in a query that matches a particular page, especially one with a high search engine ranking, as something from what source is that? Science.org would, you're gonna get that particular piece. The same things happen if you type in Zadara Kent Hovind. You're going to get my articles on the piece of shit. Do you want me to start writing pieces on you, Matt? Because if you do a Google search for the right queries and you get a certain website, obviously it must be true. It must be fact. Meaning that anything I write, if I can get it to show up in a Google search, it must be true. So if I write a piece about the giant inflatable banana called Professor Peel that you've got in your backyard, sitting right next to your your life-size real doll of Ken Hovind, yeah, it's obviously got to be true then because you could Google search it.
And it brings up this paper, and the first few words of the paper are, thank goodness for granite. No.
Wow, a witty opening line. It's almost as if someone wanted to write something that's actually worth reading, as opposed to the Bible, which is one of the most worthless, impossible to read pieces of shit text ever propagated. I would rather read Twilight than the Bible. I would rather read 50 Shades of Grey. I would rather fucking read the instructions on how to use a goddamned toaster from 1948.
Think granite. Don't think a rock for your life. Thank God above for your life.
Actually, the toaster instructions would probably contain a schematic and a parts list and a small section on theory of operation describing in explicit detail. So it would actually probably be a fun read.
Right. Good.
In the beginning, God, not in the beginning, a rock. A lot of atheists will say that it's absurd that Mary could have conceived by the Holy Spirit. How could a virgin conceive? Look, they think a...
Okay, so once again, Matt, that's a mistranslation from text from verbiage that originally meant maiden. So it's funny that you are so that creationists are that's all the King James crowd. Oh, that's the accurate presentation. When obviously it's not. Obviously it's not. So you might want to correct that because the concept is pretty fucking stupid. Especially given that if she was married, they would have done the do. She wouldn't have been all that innocent. That's kind of what happens. That's kind of one of the perks of, getting married to somebody in your theology. Now you get ready to do the horizontal mumbo, a perfectly natural thing, without it being something horribly evil. That's kind of been custom in the Western world, of which is heavily influenced by your Abrahamic fairy tales. Biology doesn't work the way you guys want it to with your Jesus story in that context, but it makes a whole lot more sense when it's just maiden. But the thing about the miracles and such, they're all fucking ridiculous because we don't actually see any of that happen in real life. And it seems like the further you go towards the present day in history, the less and less powerful your deity becomes. From the earliest parts where they could do anything to the modern time when they can't seem to do a goddamn thing. It's almost as if the deity never existed to begin with, and these are all just stories.
Rock conceived. I was in a debate with this guy,
and of course, that's not at all what anything says. No one's talking about rocks conceiving. You keep saying that. Again, the sources, what you cite doesn't say what you think it says, Matt. It does not say that. It's all nice, relatively flowery language for minerals being an element of life because hey, some of those those elements are necessary. Elements that make up this stuff, but it is not saying what you want it to say. I don't know how else to stress this, that you're just lying.
Atheist, and he said, I don't understand how a Jewish man could die and resurrect from the dead. How could you believe that? Isn't that crazy? Look, atheism teaches that every living organism came alive by itself.
Atheism is just a rejection of theistic claims. That's it. That's as far as it goes. Whatever else comes with that is up to the individual. And I need to stress once again that a large majority of people who accept evolutionary science and understand it are actually religious. Get the fuck over it, Matt. You're on the fucking moron side of history. Y'all don't ride the short bus into the discourse. You don't even have a bus as an option. Y'all wander yourselves up here and brute force your way in.
Itself from the dead. Atheism teaches a bigger resurrection than Christianity. I believe Jesus had
No. Again, the reversal.
The power to lay down his life, take it back. But atheists believe that every living
Yes. Magic Sky Daddy creates a son who's also him, according to some interpretations of this stuff, and sacrifices himself to himself. By that we mean having a shitty couple of day or two, because it was really only about a day and a half. It wasn't 3 days like a lot of people say it is anyway. Before magically getting to rule over the entire universe, sacrificing himself to himself for crimes that he declared everyone guilty of, when the entity could have just forgiven them outright. It's absolute fucking idiocy. And I will call it that to your face. Your entire Jesus story is fucking garbage. Get over it.
Organism. Catch this. Every living organism came from non-existence. Let me tell you, it takes more faith to be an atheist than it does to be a Christian.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, John, I mentioned that earlier, definitely before you had got in. Yeah, I brought up the atom being animated dust element.
Irrational faith, blind faith in that which you cannot see, to be an atheist.
You ever seen a Jesus? You ever seen your God? You ever seen your God create anything? Huh? No? Then shut the fuck up. That's not what it is. Again, reversing everything. Also, hi, Professor Dave. How you doing? Great to see you.
Instead, resort.
I got to mention, it's completely random, but I just love how perfectly the Beatles on Ed Sullivan up there kind of fit in wherever you put that image. Because Dave's, rearranged his visual flow quite a bit over the years. And it just works so well. That's just a beautiful image right there. Even just at, low quality, see it in the distance. It's just strikingly perfect. And notice, of course, it's that iconic that I recognized it instantly.
To your typical misrepresentations of science, like claiming I think life came from a rock, no matter how many times I explain to you that those are stupid things to say.
No, I don't believe that at all. I don't believe we came from rocks.
So it says here that erosion of metal-rich granite long ago set the stage for multicellular organisms.
And there's you owe your life to rock. I mean, yeah, I do. Rock music definitely kept me going during the darkest times of my life and continues to provide me with that perfect boost of energy I need and self-confidence to keep on kicking ass, and I don't even waste time taking names. Your name isn't important. But note that this is from 15th of June, 2012. So this article recently celebrated its 13th anniversary of being on the internet and being, cited by this ass clown.
How interesting.
Yeah, that's the one that starts with "Thank goodness for it." It's explaining vaguely some scientific research. Maybe we should look into this article sometime. Would that be something you'd want to see? Let me know in the comments or in the live chat for the couple of you that are here this early in the day.
I love the way that this one starts out. It starts out by saying, "Thank goodness for granite." These scientists are saying, don't thank God for life.
Yes, Joe, I got the day off. They needed to cut hours. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll totally do it. Manager was like, you don't have to. And I'm like, no. I want to. I can use this day for shenanigans. And he just looked at me like, okay.
Thank your granite grandfather rock, because if it wasn't for him, this unconscious rock that was rained on and had minerals come out of it, then we wouldn't have even come into existence.
The material.
For context, it's 9:24 a.m. here, so early enough.
Eventually formed this organic matter that formed into what we consider life. Came from the water hitting the rock and the surface of the earth.
Nobody believes we came from a rock.
Yeah. Note the verbiage. From water hitting the rocks. I wish I could remember how to diagram a sentence, but water. What is described here is life's origin is from water. Water that is what? Hit rocks. But the rocks are tangential in that. Allows minerals to be absorbed in the water. Water is, of course, a universal solvent. A great place for all kinds of reactions to happen because the water doesn't get in the way. The chemicals can be suspended and do their thing. Which, again, all life is chemicals doing what chemicals do. Reacting. It's a giant chemical reaction. Beautiful one. Intricate as all hell. But still, emergent complexity reigns on this. Simple processes scale up. You get the right stuff dissolved in the water, bing, bang, boom, there you go. Where else would you expect these compounds to exist except aggregated with other materials? Into structures that would usually be known as rocks. But again, none of this is, as you say, life just coming out of rocks. like a rock is a sponge that you just squeeze and life drips out of it.
Rock, yet the materials that eventually formed into life came from the rock being hit by water on the surface of the earth. The fact that they're embarrassed that they believe that life descended from rocks should tell us that we should boldly defend our faith and stand up for Jesus and what we believe in.
What I've noticed about Matt Powell in particular, because I've made more videos about Matt than I have about Ken, is that whenever Matt says something and I think, right, that's clearly a load of crap, so let me find out exactly what it should be. Whenever he says anything, I can almost always only find any reference to that thing he cited on a creationist science website.
I'll read the paper.
Matt, you just have that clip in there as if it at all does anything to benefit you. That should tell you everything. That should tell anyone watching this everything they need to know, and that you don't find the stuff in the actual documents on anything. It's only creationist crap that you'll hear statements like this made, showing that there seems to be a particular bias there towards certain phrasings. And for a group that likes to claim conspiracy all the time, you sure don't see how obvious it is that you all together just constantly say the same crap to perpetually lie, because that's all you can do. Also, showing a clip from a Brett Keane stream, really? I mean, yeah, you're there debating someone, but fucking Brett Keane, really? The ultimate tryhard? All right, then.
But I'm asking you right now, how does a rock conceive?
You tell me. I don't believe that it did.
But Matt, you believe that's the position. So one questioning you on the actual mechanism of it, what you think the mechanism of it is from what we supposedly say, is a valid question. Trying to turn it around doesn't work, because obviously that gentleman and everyone else you've ever discussed this with will stress that we do not think that. It's the whole point of this contention that you're seeming to be obsessed with.
I find it intriguing how some of these guys that have a very big following, they will just make these blanket statements. No.
Yeah, like Matt Powell and evolution just came from rocks and all the blanket statements you guys say constantly.
Nobody believes we came from a rock. Nobody believes that, Matt, when you can just easily look up.
Yep, that article from 2012 you're obsessed with. Yep.
They want to make believe this.
That doesn't at all say what you want it to say. And even that titling, anyone who understands basic grammar will understand that's not what is actually said.
Alternative reality.
It's like with Matt Powell, I am convinced that he knows that he's speaking nonsense.
You mentioned he's been corrected by so many different people. When has he ever said, okay, well, I was wrong about that?
No, he doesn't do that.
Change his position. Right, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He'll
Same
be corrected
sentence.
about the same thing over and over and over again and keep repeating what he knows to be wrong.
Uh-oh. Gotta find something that says the word evolved. Gotta put that in there. See, that's what they're really trying to tell you. I'm Matt Powell, and I know better than everybody. When, with the way you guys manipulate verbiage so much, people like me, and other atheists, other creators, are now constantly having to be on our tiptoes lest you manipulate and warp the words used, because basic colloquial words that happen to match with scientific terminology can no longer be used together lest colloquial definitions be mixed together. So now we have to walk a minefield that you just accuse people of saying, oh, you're just trying to sound smart. When no, we're trying to speak in a way that you fucking deceptive pieces of shit won't manipulate. Because you're dishonest pricks.
They're not interested in truth. They know that. Matt Powell's a professional liar. He knows everything he says is wrong. He doesn't care. It's a make-believe thing.
By the way, this video is probably going to get a claim or something because of Matt's goddamn music. This is part of why I don't like doing Matt Powell videos, because he's always got some kind of fucking music in there. May be able to mute it, may not. I don't know. So if you're able to and you like this, you know, toss a super chat, after the fact super thanks, helps offset the bullshittery. And actually the video's about over anyway, so I'm going to actually mute and we're just going to let it finish. Yeah. So nothing special going on. So just is post-amble. All right. So that was Matt Powell being Matt Powell. I just thought I'd do something kind of quick. How long did that take? Ooh, under 30 minutes. Impressive. I only had to get a little pissed off here and there, but I think it was mostly solid during it. All right. Well, I hit the Matt Powell quota for this month. Once again, ARC protest happening this weekend, so I'll be off at that. Try to pop some videos here, there, wherever as that happens. Just kind of live updates, however, whenever, pre-recorded stuff. You know, we'll just see what happens. And yeah, that's gonna be that. Matt Powell, you fucking sucks. You fucking sucks. Matt Powell fucking sucks. And to Matt Powell, I tell him that you fucking suck. There you go. We end with Tyler popping up saying, if we came from rocks, the simplest cells should be 100% mineral, but they're made of amino acids, ribosomes, and lipids. No fucking minerals. Exactly. That's all there is to it. All right, everyone. Much love. I'm going to try to get some food in me, and then we're going to prepare for Hovend. I'm going to try to catch up on what that dumbass has been saying, even though I'm going to regret it completely. Joe Cool asking the question I'm answering right at this moment. Yeah, I should be. I've got plenty of time. So,